Good day, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OffGridEnclave. This video will not be about my experiences with the OffGridLife, but one of our community moderators who is living on the Arctic Circle in Finland. Even in the cold conditions in the north, OffGridLife is possible. Without further ado, enjoy the video.
Greetings! This is a short summary of my garden for this summer. I'm rather inexperienced in gardening, but I have some experience on microgreens growing inside. Let's see what happened. I started quite late with tree growing inside, and as I'm from here, from the Arctic Circle, the summer is going to be quite brief for the veggies to grow. Given little amount of experience I had with growing outside, went kind of with shotgun approach to try everything, what would work and what wouldn't work. So had some herbs, salads, peas, beans, spinach, also some pickles and garlic growing inside. Although the garlic didn't work out too well. Towards end of May it got much warmer and dared to plant some radish, carrots, spinach, beets and peas outside in a raised bed. But I put some siege cloth on top of them so they wouldn't freeze in the night. Started also a construction of a kind of a greenhouse. It came on top of a raised bed and it was supposed to be cheap and uncomplicated to make. As the greenhouse got finished, I took all the pre-grown veggies from inside and planted them outside. Also bought some tomato started for the greenhouse and planted the peas on their own patch of field outside. The early June was a struggle for the plants. They were still adjusting to their new habitats outside, and the weather turned colder also. It was +0 on the nights, and at the day only +10. Made also a experimental hot compost. Was quite short on material for it, but after a few days it came obviously quite warm. On the second half of the June, things started to pick up as the temperatures rised, and was able to even harvest some of the salad from the greenhouse and some herbs. Also got to pick up some of the flowers that were on the picklers now, as there was so many of them. From mid-July onwards started the berry season with the cloudberries. Then came the blueberries and the cranberries. We used the vacuum cleaner to clean the blueberries and the cranberries. While the berry season was ongoing, the garden works mostly consisted of watering the plants and the weeding out some of the weeds. So came the autumn. Compost has filled it up nicely, and let's go see what else we can find. So here are the turnips. This was much of a shotgun approach. I just cleared out some land and threw a few of these turnip seeds in. And mostly I just took some weeds out, and then there was some general rainmaking just to water them along the summer. Turnips were mostly fine. Some of them should have picked it up a bit earlier as they were cracked already on the bottom, but all fine given the effort. Next are the carrots. Some of the carrots were planted in the bare ground and some of them were planted here in the raised bed. Let's see what came out.
Odd one. Another odd one. This one is bad. Wonder what happens here when they become like this and not proper like that. Yeah. Really funny looking ones. I really need to figure out what causes them to become look like that. Is it earth or something else? Apparently some of them it works fine, but some of them becomes like that. See, here's a great one.
Here's all the carrots I was able to gather. Probably won't last the whole winter though. Generally, they seem to do better in the ground than in the raised bed. Maybe this ground is more sandy there, but there's much more weeds on the ground though. And here is the kale. Kale had some problems along the way as well. From the starts, they were kind of walked over by the reindeer, and later on the season, they were eaten by the rabbits and some of the snails. Here's what I was able to gather, which was surprisingly well for that small area. So this is how the greenhouse looked in the end of the summer. On the right you can see the picklers, and on the left are the tomatoes, and in the middle are the herbs and the salads that are pretty much harvested by this point. Here's how the picklers look like. They started producing picklers from late July. Leaves started to turn quite pale in the late August. I guess there's some nocturnal differences. I need to look more into that next year. But they're still producing now in the late September, and even though there's been a minus degrees outside already. Next, tomatoes. Tomatoes, for all honesty, didn't succeed very well. They were really struggling all the way to the adjust into the ground, then the first colds, and then I think the soil was just bad for them in general. But there was some harvest coming now in the late autumn, and they're still producing now in the late September. Other plants in the greenhouse did quite well, although there was a lot of salad at once. Should plant them more gradually and probably only in the beginning for the greenhouse. Herbs were doing fine on the first harvest, then I harvested them in midsummer and tried to plant them again for another harvest, but they struggled for some reason to produce pretty much anything for the second harvest. General judgment for the greenhouse, it was kind of cumbersome to use as it had this funny 6 meter long opening in the front, and opening it was quite a bit of work to do the watering, etc. And also it was very hard to reach on top of the greenhouse because there was this funny little wall up there. Also, the another thing was that heating was a kind of issue. There was a little ventilation windows in the both ends, but it got really hot when the sun was shining and you had to open the full front. It was easily plus 40, 50 inside when the sun shine in the summer. Thanks for watching. Now it's time for think about improvements over the winter for the garden, and hopefully start the pre-planting much earlier than this year. If you have some kind of idea what kind of crops would work here on the Arctic Circle, please drop a comment below.